guys. Hey, y'all. Hey, it's another episode of Bonafide Her podcast featuring Madi.
Hey, everybody.
How you doing, girl?
I'm doing so good. How about you?
Blessed. So, God is good all the time.
Yes, he is.
So let's get this started. So, Maddie, can you tell us your sports dance story as well as how you got to where you are right now?
So I've been dancing since I was 3. I love dance. Dance is my passion. And I don't know life without it. And so when COVID happened in 2020, that's the year I graduated from high school. Obviously the whole world shut down, and I didn't know if I was going to get to dance again. And I came to Liberty and I found out they had a dance team, and I said, this is perfect. Like, this is totally God sent. I knew that this was for me, and I tried out for the team and I made it, and I danced on it for the past 4 years. And then this past year I got to be captain. So I got to lead the team this past year, and dance career wise, that's about it beyond that so far.
Hey, we gotta let folks know that dance is a competitive sport. So my question is, in your mind or in your perspective, why do people believe that believe that dance or cheerleading is not considered a competitive sport?
That's a very good question, and oftentimes, dance, cheerleading, and anything honestly in that realm is never really truly seen as a sport or even a competitive sport, because of the fact that all of the hard work is shown from the outside, and you don't really get to see all of the hard work that's put into the 30-second to minute and a half routine that's performed or showcased. So all of our hard work goes into 5 to 6 hours a day for out of the 7 days of the week. And then you only get to see our 30-second to 45-second performance on the sideline on a football game. So when people who are, not understanding of dance or aware that that is, what it is a dance team rather than just girls dancing on the sideline, they don't understand or see the hard work that went into what they're seeing, and that it does take strength training and endurance training and lots of hard work and practice to perfect what you're seeing on that sideline.
Yes, because y'all got a whole lot of just flexibility. I'm like, y'all have this. So, how were you able to balance? Say, I know you're huge in your faith. How were you able to balance your faith, school, and dance at the same time?
Also a good question. I don't even think it's a thing of balancing my faith. I think my faith is what balances out everything else. Without faith, I wouldn't be able to balance school and dance, as well as, family life and making sure I'm spending time with my friends and being able to show love to everything in my life. But with faith, I feel like without that outlet, I wouldn't be able to take away the stressors of school or take away the stressors of dance, because I have Jesus to rely on for that. So, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. And so, what made you What was the decision factor of why you chose Liberty?
I actually did not want to go to Liberty. I was that girl in high school that went on 2 tours, and I applied to 2 schools, and I got accepted to 2 schools, and I only wanted to go to one of them. And so I applied to Liberty, but I also applied to George Mason, and I'm a criminal psychology major, so I wanted to go to George Mason because they had such a great criminal justice program. And I actually went to a camp at Liberty called CFA, which is College for a Weekend. So you're allowed to go and actually be a college student as a high school student for just the weekend, so you can truly see what your experience will be on campus. And the second I stepped foot on that campus, I knew that that's where I needed to be, and everything felt just right. It clicked for me, and that's when I decided to go to Liberty.
Girl, familiar with both schools, especially like the sports world, because like George Mason, they got their basketball, football. Liberty got huge football like
Yeah.
program. So, of all the events that you participated in the dance team, like all the events, sporting events, what would you say is your top three most memorable one that is like that stands out for you?
With dance, it's kind of hard to pick your favorite because each one is just so different. For football, it's the excitement of being in the atmosphere, I think, is what makes it the most fun. And being on the sidelines and outside, I think, has a great impact of it, especially with the fan base that we do have at Liberty. But that does share the love to basketball. I love the basketball games because we get to share our talent a little bit more. With dance, we're not just pretty girls in a pretty dress dancing on the sidelines. We're actually showcasing our skill sets on the floor, on the court, as well as we dance for lacrosse. So that one is more of my least favorite out of the three things we danced for. We also danced at an ice hockey game, and we danced like on a platform above our rink, and that was a lot of fun. But me personally, I do enjoy the football the most. I think because of the atmosphere of it all, and I think one of my most favorite memories beyond my senior night, that was awesome, to recognize all of the hard work that not just I have done, but um, my fellow peers and teammates on my team that also put so much into this team. Um, but I really enjoyed our game against BYU. We got to storm the field afterwards, and so that was a really great celebration with our fans at Liberty, and that was a lot of fun to enjoy.
Oh, you got to storm the field,
Yes, I mean they weren't very happy about it, but we definitely did it regardless.
girl. I always wonder what's it like just to see the storming the field or a court. I'm like, yo, y'all brave, because I would have to move out the
Oh, it
way.
was so fun, so fun.
So, what like in ways what do you find yourself maybe continue to dance in different avenues or teaching dance?
Yes, I definitely think, honestly, with most sports, your body, the time is now because your body it's going to age, and you won't be able to put out as much as you would right now. So this is my prime time. If I were to pursue anything dance wise, I definitely could see myself trying to do something in the dance industry. I'm not sure what yet, but something. um, and kind of pursuing my own dreams and hopes for that aspect. But if I had the ability or the honor of being able to coach a team or teach dance to others, I love it. I love choreography. I love teaching all ages. So I could see myself, from children up to collegiate level. Um, but yeah, no, that if that opportunity came to be, I would definitely take that for sure.
Oh, go for it, girl. If be passionate with a be lit with a passion. So my question is for you, like especially, um, you know, who inspired you in both dance and in life in general? Like who inspired you?
um, a lot of people have asked me that question, like, who's a celebrity or a role model that you always look up to for that? And for my dance career, but even me as a person, like, I don't think I really have somebody that I've really stuck out for me to say, like, that's who I really look up to. I mean, of course, my mom and my dad, great parents. Of course, they're great role models, but I feel like just kind of allowing God to lead me in the way that I need to is kind of how I've always run my life. If this is not what God wants for me, then I'm not going to pursue it. If it is, I'm all in. And so with that, I feel like with dance, he's always been the one to say, like, this is the talent that I've given you, and I want you to show me through that. And I feel like with dance, the dance industry is really dark. It's a dark place because a lot of people who come from a non faith based um, place of heart um, are not found in the dance industry. And I feel like what my dance team overall dance teams have that's different than anybody else is the Christ at the center. So um, when he's leading our team, that definitely creates a big difference. in general.
So when you say like dance, like in the dance industry is a dark space, like can you break it down? Like what do you mean by it?
Um, I guess because of the fact of like what people are pursuing and why they're pursuing it. Um, I feel like as a dancer, and I know a lot of dancers can agree that perfection is what's often looked for. And if you are not perfection, you're not seen. You're not picked first. It's very competitive. People that you go to audition for, they know exactly what they want, and they'll never give you a reason why as to why you were not chosen. And I feel like being a light in an industry like that, in giving more of a purpose beyond just are you fitting the shoes of perfection for whatever team or performance or cruise line if you want to dance there or Broadway, like all of the above. Um, there is more purpose beyond just seeking the perfection in the eyes of whoever you're trying out for. So definitely that is a dark part of the industry. I feel like it's just like an endless hole of trying to be somebody you're not, and then you ultimately lose yourself in that. Um, but beyond that, I mean, it's filled with great people. It's not the people that make it dark. It's just the hardships of seeking for that perfection, and sometimes it can be hard to achieve that.
For sure. And what's that? What was it like to like be the light to your dance team?
Even being at a Christian university where faith is the center, it's important to have a good leadership and fellow teammates that also can build you up in your faith. I know that even prior to me being captain, I had always had somebody to look up to or be there when I needed them. And so when I had the opportunity to lead the team, that's definitely something that I put on myself is that, that these girls are looking up to me. And I need to be their leader and their role model in all aspects, whether it's growing up as a woman, growing to be a woman of Christ, growing as a dancer, um, just being a good example as my behavior. How do I act around people? How do I lead my team um, in the dance world? Because it's unheard of to have a team where every girl has a heart for the Lord. So definitely in that way.
Now, do you see like more? Do you hope to see more like people like dance teams to increase within the college world?
Um, I definitely think it's becoming a little bit more seen, especially since NIL came to be, getting those opportunities to give athletes money during college. Um, as a student athlete, it's hard to have a job while being a full time student and a full time athlete. So I guess that in a way, dance teams, collegiate level, are getting more and more seen, as well as our competitions are getting a little bit more broadcasted, and more people are being more willing to watch it. But I feel like oftentimes when you think of a collegiate dance team, you think of the marching band, you think of the cheer team, and you think of the dance team. Those things kind of, go together when they perform. So pre-games before football, you watch the cheer team, the band, and the dance team. So I feel like if more schools allow dance to be more tight knit with those other aspects of a college, it might get a little bit more spread in the US, I guess, or collegiate dance in general gets to be more seen.
That's awesome because I when I was in college, I was trying to figure out what's the difference between the dance team
Yes.
and the cheerleading because they both got pom poms, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like, how would you, for folks that don't understand the difference, how would you break down the difference between cheerleading and the dance team, like in college?
So I feel like yes, it's so hard to see like the difference because half the time people feel like, oh, there's the cheerleaders, but it's the whole dance team. So it's hard to, tell the difference. And honestly, they're there for the same reason. They're there for the fan experience. I guess dance is less of a vocal sport; it's more of a visual. So with cheerleaders, you're engaging with the audience in a way of, let's do this chant, let's do this, because for LU we do this. So like the cheer team leads that with the audience, whereas the dance team is more representative of like when you watch the band, we dance with the band, so you're able to, I guess, see what you're hearing from the instruments of the band. Dance is very much all about the music, so it's you're representing what you're hearing. And so when you hear those chants or you hear cheer on the sidelines, we're putting the action behind what they're promoting. But all about fan experience and kind of tying it all together. Is I don't know how exactly to maybe tell somebody the difference between the two, but the dance team is definitely more visual. So if you can see something more visually exciting, it's probably dance team. But 1000% cheer team is also visually exciting. So I don't want to put down any cheerleaders out there because they're both important.
Oh yeah, like especially mentioned about fan engagement. Like, what
Mm-hmm.
was that like? What was that like to be engaged with the fans, especially as like just throughout your years of college?
So my job as the dance team, especially for collegiate dance, literally is all about the fans. Whatever the fans want, that's what we put out and try to give fans the best experience possible for any sporting event on campus. So for football games, if the game started at 12 p.m., we'd be there at 8 a.m. and then we're there 2 hours after the game has been completed. So those 4 hours leading up to that game, we're interacting with the fans. We're taking pictures with kids and talking to fans and saying, "Hey, like, how's your day going? Welcome to the Liberty Stadium. Welcoming in the atmosphere that we want the fans to experience while they're at any sporting event on campus."
Girl, I didn't know y'all had to go for 4 hours before like a
Yeah,
game time.
yeah.
Ooh,
Football games are probably our longest events. So, football games are usually at a minimum 4 hours. So we're arriving 4 hours early. Game starts at 12. Let's say that for example. The game isn't probably completed until about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and then we're there for another 2 hours after that. So we probably wouldn't complete our day for a 12 o'clock game until about 6 or 7 p.m.
so y'all there for a whole day. Like it's not just
Yeah,
part of the day, but a
no,
whole.
it's an experience. And, we're not only that, but we're also full time students. So the week before that, we have lift twice a week, an hour lift twice a week at 6:30 in the morning. And then I go to my classes and I practice again for another 2 to 3 hours 4 times a week. So, and then on top of that, we have our game schedule. So, quite a jam packed week before game days and basketball. Most of the season is midweek games. There's not a whole lot of Friday Saturdays. Of course there is, but there's a lot of Mondays or Wednesday nights, Thursdays, even like all days of the week, honestly, that they pop up randomly. So sometimes we'll have to even miss class just to perform and serve at basketball games or other sporting events.
Did you ever get a chance to like say be part of like say their playoffs or conferences like playoffs or like national playoffs? Like
So my freshman year, we had the opportunity to, for basketball games, it's different for other schools and other dance teams, but our dance team in particular, we get to dance in the stands. We have our own reserved seating. So we got to dance in the stands, but we didn't get to perform for like a halftime or a timeout for our conference championships for basketball. But it also goes off of the team. So if our team makes it, and we have the opportunity as a school to host that conference championship, then we have the opportunity to dance at those games. But if it's an away conference championship, so like this year, our conference championship was in Alabama that whole time. So we didn't get to go to that one. But we did get to go to our bowl game in Arizona. Sorry, I had to think about that for a second. We got to perform in Arizona at the bowl game, so that was pretty fun. And that was against Oregon. So for our team, that was a terrible matchup. Absolutely
Oh,
terrible. We got obliterated, but it's okay. The opportunity was awesome.
I said, ooh, y'all got to go to a bowl game? And it was
Yeah,
against Oregon?
yeah.
That, oh my gosh. Look, a bowl game though, that'd be like, that's a whole experience right there.
It's so fun, especially because it was in an NFL stadium. So like the experience was quite awesome.
And where was this like? Where was the bowl game at?
Phoenix, Arizona.
Dang, Phoenix is getting a lot of love lately. It's the bowl game. You had the Super Bowl. Like,
Yes.
man. So my question is, what would you say is your input on the NIL, especially with the NIL era has like really kind of getting started and increasing?
Mhm. I think it's really great. I think it allows student athletes to be able to, um, especially for us as a dance team, NIL really was able to help us athletes pay for some of our uniforms as well as just a meal after a game was awesome to be blessed with, because our team is a club sport, so we're not NCAA affiliated at all. Dance is not an NCAA sport, but we are a club sport. So, of course, club sports for ours, we're very blessed to have a club sports program that is able to provide for us in a lot of different ways. But specifically, the NIL helping us to just to put an extra $50 in our pocket at the end of the week to help out with groceries, gas, a night out for once, just kind of little sprinkles here and there. I can say that for us as a dance team, but obviously other sports are getting much more perks, are a little bit paid a little bit more than dance team. So I can't speak on for other sports, but for us as a dance team, it's a very big blessing. Helps us out a lot.
Do you hope to see more like dance teams get NIL deals as much as like the other athletes?
Yeah, I mean that would be awesome if dance got that kind of a recognition. But I definitely feel like beyond NIL, I feel like dance should be given as a scholarship from the school because most NCAA sports not only are they getting NIL, but they're getting a stipend as well as an academic scholarship for colleges, and so the dance team is not offered those because of the fact that we are not an NCAA sport. But I guess when it comes to making dance an NCAA sport, I feel like it kind of takes away from the art of the sport of dance. And because it is kind of on that wishy washy aspect of it's a sport, but it's also an art. And so I feel like making it a true competitive sport to take away from that. But I guess making it like, collegiate dance, that itself is a sport rather than just dance in general. Um, but if there was an increase in NIL opportunities, I feel like could reach different aspects of the sports industry, mainly dance though.
Yeah, because like like the social media presence of all the different athletes and dance teams, like are very, just out there, and you see it all the time. So
Mhm.
for you, how impactful is social media when it comes to, collegiate dance and sports?
Social media, I mean, in general, right now is the best thing to promote anything anymore. Your social media is important. If your team has a good social media outreach, they're more known, they're more prone to getting donated to. Um, I feel like that combined with NIL and social media, getting our name out there a little bit more, specifically for our team, because we are a Christ centered team, I feel like is a way for us to have an outlet for showcasing Christ, and showing it in a different light that many people probably haven't seen, because you don't ever really honestly associate a collegiate dance team with Christ. They don't really go together. But for our team, it does. So social media for us, having the opportunities to be blessed with even like an energy drink, reaching out to us and supplying us with energy drinks for a game day, or makeup or hair. Those are all things that social media can definitely put out for our team as well as others.
Ooh, slay. And you mentioned like a Christ centered team. What would you
Mm-hmm.
say is the misconception of being considered a Christ centered team, especially for folks that don't know what it is?
What'd you say? Like, what the definition of it?
What would you say is the misconception of it, especially if people don't understand what a Christ centered
Mm-hmm.
team is?
So, just to put it plainly, we are a group of women who follow Christ who just happen to be blessed with the opportunity to dance. That's kind of something that we say to each other. We have devotionals and Bible studies at least once a week, to kind of put, you know, we're all human. We're all going to make mistakes. There isn't like the stigmatism of being perfect all of the time on our team, because we are doing it for Christ. Our hearts are not, how famous can we get the Liberty University dance team? Um, how much of an impact can the Liberty dance team and get first place at a competition? We're just striving to share the heart of Christ by dancing. So when we dance, or when people see our dance team, we want them to see Christ, not us. So I feel like that's what puts us apart from other dance teams and other dance programs for collegiate dance.
Ooh, okay, slay. I like that. Like,
Yeah.
it's just different to hear that, to be honest, but it's very interesting and intriguing to hear that. So, my question is, when it comes to women's sports as well as dance, how important is representation?
Oh, big time representation. Always, first impressions for any job interview or anywhere you step foot into, first impression is a big aspect of anything. For us, we're not just representing our dance team, we're representing our university, and we're also representing Christ. So when we walk into any room and when we're talking to somebody, our words carry heavily, our body language carries heavily. You want to be representing all three of those things at all times, as well as yourself. You want to represent yourself well, and carry yourself well, in what you believe, in your values and your morals. But kind of lost my train of thought. I don't know where I was headed with that. I was headed somewhere, but I can't remember.
Oh,
But first impressions. You want to be able to represent yourself well.
yes, because those first impressions be making a lasting, long like
Hmm.
legacy right there.
People
So,
will remember you forever based off of how you act to them. So, if you're a light to somebody, they're gonna remember that forever. And then that puts a good name on our team and our brand. Basically. Dance is honestly a brand. Everything is a brand. You want to sell what you are as a person, in our team and what we represent, as well as our school. So,
first of all, love your nails. Love
oh,
them. They're so.
thank
I
you.
love it. I was like, I just like they so cute. I was like, yes, slay. I was like, if I had nails like that, I would be like just on the
Oh,
desk.
girl, they're acrylic. Don't even worry. They're not mine.
I was like, I would be like tapping on the desk, like just how they make the like just the yes,
The
yes,
little.
I would do those. So, um, especially like I would say like representation, like you hit the nail on that because especially with like so many people, they try to figure out like representation, like what is it, like how to, and you know, um, you're huge, like I said, you're huge, like huge in your faith. Um, How would you say, how were you able to like maybe just express your faith during your college years, especially like what would you say to folks in like how they can be able to express their faith without feeling like they're going to be judged?
Okay, so going to a school like Liberty, I find it often that is the hardest place to accept, like, showcase your faith and talk about it because, I mean, me and my own personal experience being at Liberty, sometimes you feel as though you're not a good enough Christian or you're not enough to be friends with another person because you feel as though they're on a longer journey of their faith than what you are. So I feel like as a Christ follower, you're obviously personally trying to get as close to God as you can, and building a better relationship with Him along the way. And I feel like on campus, reminding yourself of that each person is on their personal journey. It's unique to each person individually, and so being an example of a Christ follower. I mean, of course, you're leading with the fruits of the Spirit. You want to be an atmosphere that's inviting for other people. But leading in Christ is providing just, again, it's an example, setting an example of how you act and how you behave and how you treat others. Just alone sets that bar, if that makes
Oh yeah, that
sense.
big. I was like, she mentioned the fruit of the spirit. Ooh, Galatians 5:22 through 23.
Yes.
Ooh, yes. I used to hear that all the time, like the fruit of the spirit. Supposedly there's a song about it. I'm like, really? I have never heard
Probably,
of
yeah.
that.
I don't know. Like, fruits of the Spirit, for those who don't know, like, it's just patience, love, kindness, like those things that you look at in others that you automatically notice about them. You know, it's an atmosphere that you walk in on a person and you're like, okay, they're different. Um, you know, I don't even know how to explain it because it's just a feeling. You can just tell that person is walking in faith.
I would say for me, I'm like a walking by faith and not by sight thing. Because sometimes when you seeing can be very deceptive, like it's almost like a mirage. But when you walk by faith, you're like, man, I don't got to worry about it. Let me just do my little stepping stones that God be providing.
Yeah, always.
So my question is, if there's a verse that would describe your journey, what would it be?
Oh my, that's a very difficult question. I don't have like a favorite verse, but I do have a favorite chapter of the book. Psalm 42 is literally all about desperately seeking the Lord, always. And I feel like for me, um, I cling to that verse heavily. Those verses, I should say, that whole chapter, I cling to it heavily because it's all like ultimately the epitome of being a Christian. Because you are never supposed to be doing it for your own. It's always based off of what you do for Christ, and that you do need Him in all times. And I feel like um, the sayings of like why do bad things happen to good people is kind of representative of those verses because if we did not experience hardships or troubles or actually hitting rock bottom, we wouldn't ultimately see how much we do need Christ. And that we should seek Him whether we're on the highest of highs or the lowest of lows. Um, so that's it for that question, I
It's
guess.
almost like the valley of mountains and hills, like the way you
Yes.
describe. Because my thing is, we all have. I always say like trials and tribulations can turn into a testimony. Struggles can
Yes.
turn into a salvations, and worries can
Mm-hmm.
turn into worship. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you could take that negative and God be providing into a
Oh
positive.
yeah. Yep. Most definitely.
And I need to reread Psalms again because it's been a long time.
Psalm
So
42. I recommend.
yes, because I know it's the longest book I know it's the longest book in the Bible, but like, because I would say like too. Like I've noticed a lot of people have been reading Proverbs. I'm like, oh, so y'all trying to get some wisdom.
Oh,
Okay.
yes. Lots of wisdom, especially for women. Proverbs 31. How to be a woman of Christ.
You know what's crazy? Which I love how people will love, like men be like, hey, I need a Proverbs 31 one woman. I'm like, so are you Ephesians 5's man? If that's like,
Bring it,
are you?
wrap it around, bring it back.
I'm
If
like,
I'm
so
one, are you this?
yeah, because it's, and then a lot of people, I notice a lot of people don't mention, but a Titus 2 woman, if folks, like a Titus 2 woman is basically you teach, like they teach, women on how to do certain things, or just being nurtured, teaching and stuff. A lot of people don't see it, but I'm like, yo, you add that to Proverbs 31? I'm just
Yeah.
saying, but
I mean, even Ephesians 5 is also speaking to women because, it's talking about being submissive to your husband and I guess being submissive to the right man because ultimately, that word submission in today's world can mean a lot of different things and being submissive to the right man is being submissive to somebody who's fulfilling that man of God that you're supposed to be with rather than submitting to somebody who craves your submissiveness, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I kind of again lost my train of thought there, but um I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. You know what you should be providing for your husband and or whoever you're with, your spouse, your boyfriend, your fiance.
girl, because like my thing is to like you said, submissive, being submissive. A lot of people like to twist it, and it's like you have to understand nobody's gonna be submissive to any man. Like we're not gonna be submissive to you because
No,
you. So you got to be like presentable, right? Like actually, like
yeah,
so.
well, submissive to a man who will provide for you as a woman. And I guess in a more worldly term, being able to unleash that soft girl side of yourself or the femininity of being a woman. Because you're matching that masculine energy with the femininity and allowing yourself to be a woman rather than having a woman having to put that front up of being masculine is the same thing as being submissive to an Ephesians 5 man.
Girl, because the Proverbs 31 woman plus an Ephesians 5 man equivalates to a 1 Corinthians 13 love. So,
There you go. Bible math.
yes, it's like we Bible mathing today. Just, I'm here. But I was, for me, you know, I think, a lot of people like to, look at older folks for wisdom, but it's like, 1 Timothy 4:12 did say, don't like just overlook someone's age because they may be young, but some young
Mhm.
people know how to be very wise. They're more
Yes.
wiser than the older folks.
Yes. Definitely.
So would you say like, with your faith it has helped you become more confident within yourself?
Oh, most definitely. Hmm, trying to see how I can word this. I feel like I have always been somebody who's been very confident. I've never really been somebody who's been ultimately very, of course, everybody has their own insecurities and worries of what people might think of them. But I feel like in Christ as well as dance, like that's always been the place that I've been able to succeed, and that's my safe space. Um, and it's been always an outlet. And I feel like the beauty of dance brings out everybody's unique ability to express an emotion or a feeling or a word. So, songs are expressing an emotion and a feeling and using lyrics to describe those feelings and emotions. And dance is just taking those words, feelings, and expressions and putting a visual aspect to it. And so I feel like then taking that with my faith um, provides like the perfect layer of confidence because I'm expressing me and my faith and what God wants me to portray in my routine. And so I feel like definitely confident in that realm, but definitely having a confidence of faith. Walking in faith is always frightening when people don't walk in faith and they're coming for you in spiritual warfare. Um, but I just have confidence in the Lord, and that's all I need. I don't need anything else. And so He's got me, and I guess that kind of answers that question. Where I find my confidence always.
For those that don't know what spiritual warfare is, you can look it up on Ephesians 6 as well as 1 Peter 5, 7 through 8.
Yes, yes.
So
Spiritual warfare, that'll get you.
oh yeah. So my so as a student athlete, you were, and as a woman, as of course a woman, in life, and being a woman of God, how important is mental health to you?
Hmm. So I'm also a criminal psychology major, so I have a lot of a psychology background. So I've seen both the religious side of mental health as well as the worldly scientific side of mental health and psychology. And mental health as a student athlete is definitely something that is not talked about often. It's kind of swept under the rug, like, hey, they're a student athlete, they're putting out. Who cares if they're mentally not okay underneath all of that? They're putting out, they're giving us what we need to promote. They're winning us games. They're um, dancing perfectly. They're leading the team. But I can say at Liberty, with adding the aspect of faith, we have a lot of community, as well as we have a Christ who's willing to sit down and be that person that we need when we are struggling. But of course, it's not always a first resort. Sometimes when you're struggling hard enough that you're either embarrassed to go to Christ or that's not something that you're ready to sit down and talk to the Lord about. Again, spiritual warfare. Uh, I feel like mental health at Liberty, we have the opportunity to have mental health counselors. So each student athlete is given a mentor who is willing to sit down with you and make sure that hey, are you okay? Are you eating? Are you doing your assignments? Are you okay in your sport? Is your coach treating you well? Are your teammates being nice to you? Are you struggling with an assignment? Can we get you a tutor? Can we get you help from anywhere? So we also have a hotline just for our student athletes here at Liberty, where at any point, at any time, we get any free session with a counselor on campus. And we can also anonymously report other student athletes if they don't want to report themselves to get help. And that said counselor reach out to them. So I can say at Liberty, mental health is placed on a very important level, and we are sought after in that a lot.
You mentioned like the religious aspect of mental health and the worldly aspect. Can you
Mhm.
like in ways break that down in a way
Yeah.
where
Um, so sometimes people can think that in a spiritual way, there's no other, trying to find the right words. Um, Worldly wise, of course, there's different types of therapy, there's counseling, there's a lot of ways to fix things. Whereas on the Christian side, it's like, I guess the stigma is okay, just pray about it. God will fix it. You'll be all right. Or you need to talk to a spiritual leader to help you out with that. That kind of that downplaying aspect of what you're feeling, because those are very valid feelings and emotions. And sometimes those valid feelings and emotions are sought after you from the devil. I mean, it's all spiritual warfare. If you're a Christian, of a person of faith, you understand what I'm saying. But of course, if you are not, you are feeling those very hard feelings of being a student athlete, and your mental health of, I'm not performing well enough, or I'm not putting out in a game, or my coach is upset at me. That really takes a toll on your mental health, as well as, I'm not doing well academically. I'm trying to put out as an athlete, but I don't have time for academics anymore. Those are very hard things as a student athlete to put together. But the difference is, I guess, between spiritual as well as the worldly aspect of mental health. Um, it's just kind of like how you want to see it, and how you allow yourself as a Christian and a person of faith to see mental health in the world view of a Christian aspect. So me as a criminal psychology major, and seeking after helping people in the world, as a counselor, being able to put that in a Christian worldview, kind of merges the two together.
Ooh, girl. I ain't never heard of that before, but Lord have mercy. Woo! I felt it was like a whole like just rampage of all this information. Like I'm trying to get everything. Like I'm here for it.
Awesome. I'm glad it was good.
But I do the criminal psychology definitely sounds very interesting, especially
Yeah.
like just sounds very interesting. So, ooh, I'm gonna have to learn how to do that too. So,
I mean, so a lot of people think like criminal psychology, like FBI agent, detective, but there's honestly a lot of different routes in that. For me specifically, I want to work with kids in the juvenile system, and I want to make them, or allow them to see that there is a bigger and brighter life for them beyond what they see now. And for me, I feel like personally, if I'm there to help make a difference in an adolescent's life, that can fix generations to come for crime in the future. So if you're fixing where we are at the beginning, when they grow into adults, they're going to also produce more children in an environment that is not a part of crime or in need of criminal justice. So making the world a better place, starting with kids and adolescents, where they're learning to be a human being, and that there is such thing called love, and that there are parents that will love you and take care of you and lead you in the right direction, rather than feeling like there's no hope, or what's college, I don't have money to afford that, or a job, how could I get a job when I don't have a car to get there, or I don't have transportation? Just little things like that, or even making dinner. Some of these kids don't even have passions or see themselves having anything in life, because nobody's shown them that they can have that, and that it's important. So, or passions like dance. Some of these kids don't even see that. So, definitely a big passion for me in criminal psychology beyond just dance and faith.
ooh, I know that's right. Um, what would you say is that purpose that you feel like that you want to fulfill or you see yourself fulfilling?
Um, of course, this probably sounds like the most cliche answer ever, but fulfilling whatever God has as a purpose for me. I definitely have a big heart for dance, but I also have a big heart for criminal psychology and the juvenile justice system. And I'm just going to let Him be the guide in that. And wherever He sees me as the most biggest aspect for His kingdom is where I want to be. Um, yeah, I guess that's my answer. I don't got anything else to say.
So, I always ask my guests this question. So, bona fide means authentic, unique. So, what makes Maddie authentic and unique, and what makes your story stands out?
Um, that is such an interesting question. I I don't know. I guess I'm unique in my faith. I'm unique in the fact that I'm a Christ follower who is a dancer, and loves the Lord and wants to just put out with whatever He wants for me. And I also feel like in the criminal justice system, that's not seen a lot. That's also another very dark industry and world in today's society. A lot of darkness and not a lot of faith comes in the criminal justice system. So I guess for me, being a light in those areas, and I guess what makes me unique is having the heart and the passion to change that. Not a lot of people can say that they want to be a woman going into the criminal justice field. It's a very male dominant career field, but I guess again, what makes me unique is wanting to pursue that and having a passion for
Ooh. Yes, I'm here for it.
it.
It's my own little flag, like, yes, I'm here for it. So, so can you let the folks know how and where they can support you and if there's any upcoming events happening for you?
Yes, so I'm actually an alumni now. But if you ever wanted to check out Liberty, it's a great school. Very That's a controversial statement, but for some people, it's the best place ever. And I truly did have a great experience at Liberty. You can follow me on Instagram if you want. But also just, I guess, leaving with the fact that if you ever needed to reach out to me, I'd love to talk to you. But you could support my dance team. It's a great program, and I'd love to see it succeed. I think it could truly make a big difference, especially in the dance industry. Um, yeah, that's about it.
Yes. Y'all heard it first, y'all. Be sure to follow Maddie on the Instagram and be sure to follow Liberty Dance Team. So and thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to check out the live replay after this episode and big shout out to Maddie for sharing your story. We will see you guys next time. Peace.